Hey, what's up coders, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll be showing you how to pick images from the image library, and also I'll be showing you how to store the selected image on Firestore. So to perform these actions I shall be using the image picker and Firebase storage plugins. So I'll leave a link in the video description with the details of the plugins and the version details as well. So today's use case is a very simple edit profile screen which has a profile picture and the user details and with two buttons. So all I'll be doing is selecting a profile picture and uploading it on the Firestore. So let's see the demo page. As I mentioned, I would be selecting an image and uploading it onto the Firestore. So when I click the camera icon here, first time when I'm doing it for the first time, I would be prompted with a dialog asking if this app can access the photo and the media files. So if you give the permission allow, then I would be routed to the gallery page and I can select a sample image. And after selecting the sample image, I would get the image displayed here, and then when I click on submit, I get a snack bar saying profile picture uploaded. Now this does not confirm if it is uploaded on the Firestore. So let's quickly check the Firestore. So here we're going to check in the storage tab and in the file section. When I'm implementing this particular use case, I'll show you how to set it up and I'll show you how to do the other details. So as of now, all I have to do is just refresh to see if the picture that I selected from the gallery is uploaded on Firestore, and there you can see the image is uploaded. Now if I click on the image, you can see the image that we selected. So this gives the confirmation that the image that was selected from the app is being stored onto Firestore. So now let's move on to the implementation and we'll see what are the basic setup process that we need to do in order to get this functionality working. Alright, so moving on with the implementation, first thing, get your plugins set in your pubspec file, which is the file storage and the image picker. These are the two plugins that I have used, and there's just one page that I've used, which is the profile page in my use case. So make sure that you had these packages, which is the image picker, file storage, and also I've used path.dart. So this is basically used to get the file name of the image that you're selecting from the gallery, so that you have unique names when you store it on the Firestore. So that's the reason I've used here, but I'll show you the implementation part as and when I move to that particular section. Before I start with this particular state widget, we need to make sure that we have a project set up in our Firebase. So if you watched my Firestore with Flutter series, I have in detail explained step by step how to create a project, how to add dependencies, how to ensure that if you get the Android X migration issue error, how to tackle it. So I'll leave a link in the video description which contains the other video detail as well. Please watch that video if you're watching this video for the first time, so you will have a better understanding of it. And once you have set the project right with all the dependencies set, then you can come to the storage section, which is on this left. Click on it and make sure that you have even the rules set, which is like allow, read and write. So if you do not have this, then if you add images there, you will not see it on your Firestore. So make sure that you have them set it right. So once you have all this set, then we can move on with our UI part. So here I have a very simple stateful widget, nothing complicated, with just a simple app bar with an arrow left. So moving on to the body section, I would be first referring a builder. Now why am I referring a builder class is, if you have seen my other Firestore tutorials, most of the time what happens is I will try to refer the context outside the scaffold. So when we are doing that, then what happens is you would get an error something similar to this. Yeah, it says scaffold of called with the context does not contain scaffold. So then it says you cannot use this. The reason is, if you had seen my UI, when I click on the submit button, there is the snack bar displayed here. Now this snack bar is totally out of the scaffold. It's in a particular function, and there when I'm using a snack bar, I use a context reference. So when I'm using a context reference, it does not identify a scaffold there. So in order to overcome this, they have given you a detailed description what are the options that you could use, and they say that the only efficient and the simplest option is to use the builder class. So I'll leave a link of this particular document also in the video description, so that you can go through it and understand in detail as to what this builder class does and this build context does. So there you go. So the first thing that I have is my builder class, and inside this I would be using a property called builder and the context. So this is the only thing that I do in order to get the context outside the scaffold. And then what I'm going to do is, let me close this. And now once I'm done with this, inside this I will start with the container. So that's the main container of my UI. So inside the container I'm going to use a column widget, because all you have is just one below the other. If you look at the UI, you have every section just displayed one below the other. So I'm just going to add a column widget to So first thing what I'm doing is I'm adding a sized boxed height, just to give that extra spacing. And then I'm going to start with a row widget. Now why am I using a row widget here is, you could see I have a circle avatar and a camera icon next to each other. So I'm going to tackle this using a row widget. Then I use a circle avatar with a radius 100. Now to get that particular border and the clipping part, this part, I'm using a clip oval widget. So I'll show you how to use this. And alright, now inside this I have to display a particular placeholder image. So in my case, all I'm doing is I'm just picking up an image from the network. So I'm just going to add that particular image here. But when we move on to the Firestore section or the Firestore part, we would have a condition here to check if the image is null. If not, pick the image from the file that we have used and all that. So as of now, it's just a simple static image. Alright, so now we have added the circle image. Now we will add the camera, and then we will build it and we will see how it looks. So to add the camera section, I'm just giving some padding here, just to give that spacing between your circle avatar, and it appears at the bottom corner. So if you look at this, it appears here. If I don't give that padding or any other parameters, it will just appear next to it. So what I've done here is I have added the icon, and on pressed I've left it empty at the moment. So first let's finish the UI, and then I'll show you the on pressed of both the submit and the camera icon. So when you build this and see, you get this particular section. Now let's focus on the other section, which is getting these details. So I'll show you how to do the first one. The second, third, and the email is just the repetition of it, with just the content being changed. So for that, let's move on to the section which is after the row. So here I'm just going to add another spacing sized box. And here I'm going to use again a row and a column combination. The reason is, if you see here, you can see that it's first I've considered this as one row and this as another row, and inside this I've used a column widget for username and the name. So that's how I've used the combination. And just to get that alignment of the name onto the center left and the other one is on the right side. So inside this I'm adding a child with the container, and this container contains a column widget. So this is where you have your username and your name displayed. And now I'll be adding the other text, which is the now I'll be adding the pencil icon, which indicates that you can edit this, but we're not focusing on the editing part of the edit profile here. So there you go. So I have built this, and you can see the username and the pen icon here. I'm going to follow the similar procedure for the other text as well. So I've added another row element which has the similar birthday and the profile details. Alright, so there you go. So I have followed the same UI structure and added the other details. Now the only section that is left is the two buttons, which is the cancel and submit. So again, it's a row with the combination of two raised buttons. So I'm going to quickly add that and then move on with the implementation part. So there you go. So I've added a raised button, and on press, since this is a cancel button, all I'm doing is just closing the screen by using a navigator pod with the elevation, splash color and the text. That's it. So similar way I'm going to add the other raised button, which is the submit, but on press it will have a different functionality. There you go. So you have those buttons, but on pressed I'm using a different image which is called upload picture. So we will see the implementation of this upload picture and clicking on the camera. So you can see these buttons. So first here we have two pending functions to be implemented. First thing is the camera click, and next is the submit. So first let's focus on the camera click. So if you look at the UI of the camera, we had left the on pressed empty. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an function called get image, and now let's implement this. So to start with the implementation, all I'm doing is, first thing I'm going to create a variable of type file, and that's called image. So first thing, now let's focus on the get image implementation. So I'm going to use future and then say get image, and since I'm using future, I'm going to use async. Now inside this, all I have to do is create a new variable, and I'm going to say await, and what this does is it's going to use my image picker plugin. So I'm going to say image picker dot pick the image. So in our case it's an image, so we're going to say pick image, and the source is image source gallery. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you can use camera, file, assets, anything. So here in my case I'm using gallery. Once we have set this, we have to use set state. So in the set state, what I'm doing is I'm assigning my underscore image, which is the type file, to this particular image. Then what happens is whatever I've selected in the gallery gets updated in this underscore image, which is of type file. Then if you want, you can do any action here. So at the moment I'm just going to use print the image path so that you can see the path of the image. And also the focus of our UI is the moment you select from the gallery, it has to get updated in your circular avatar. So let's do that section as well. So in the circular avatar, we had just updated a static image, but now what we're going to do is we're going to check if this particular image is available or not. If not, then we will update it with a static one. So we're going to do that check. We're going to say if this image is not equal to null, that is the image that's getting from the gallery. If it is not equal to null, then we will say pick it up from the file. And then we're going to say fit box fit fill. Then if this is equal to null, then set this to your static image. If not, set it to the image that is being picked up from the gallery. So this is the only condition that we add here. This is the only line that allows you to get your image from your gallery. So if you add this, you're good to go, which will help you in picking up the gallery image. Now once you've picked the gallery image, we need to add this image to the Firestore. We need to upload it. So we had created a function called upload picture. So let's see how to implement this. So let's quickly add that function as well. So that function is also going to be a future function. So it's a future. So in this, since we are interacting with the Firestore, okay, before that, if you had seen my image, when it gets stored here, it was not storing with the entire path name that's being picked up from the gallery. Instead, I want just the image name. So for that reason, I have used this path.dart file, the package, and inside this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable called file name, and I'm going to use the function called base name. This will ensure that I can get only the file name and not the entire path. So that way you can make it more readable. And now what we have to do is we have to get the Firebase storage reference. So for that we are going to use, and this would be Firebase storage instance dot ref dot child, and the path would be the name of the file name. So when you do this, it will pick up this particular file name and add it in your Firestore in the storage section. And then, so this part is just getting the reference and getting the file name. Now we need to put the file onto the Firebase. So to do that, we are going to use so this is the one that ensures that it adds the file with this file name. Okay, this file name. And then on complete, we need to check if it is completed or not. So for that we use storage task snapshot. There's another, and this completes your adding of your file to the Firestore. Then we also going to use set state, and in this section I'm just going to make sure that I print a message saying or display a snack bar saying profile picture uploaded. So here you can add any other functionality of your choice, or maybe if you want to route to another page saying confirmation or a dialogue or something like that. So here I'm using a very simple, all you're doing is get the reference, get the file name, put the file onto the Firebase and complete it, and then display the image. So this is the uploading part. So let's build this. So there you go, it has built, and as usual you can see the static image because initially the image from the gallery is null. So I'm going to select the sample image again, you can see that it gets updated here, and then when I click on submit, you can see a snack bar, and when I refresh my Firebase here, you can see the image getting uploaded. So yeah, there you go. So I'm going to click this and you can see it. So if I had not used that particular file name here, the base name, here you would see a very long path name, which would be the path of your gallery. So same thing you would see here. So just by using this, you are able to just see the image picker and the name of the file here. So this is how you upload images to the Firestore and select the images from the gallery. It's pretty simple, straightforward. All you need to do is make sure you have your Firebase set up, plugins used correctly, and then use those two functions which I showed you, and you're good to go. So hope you like this video. If you do like, please give it a like and do subscribe, and if you find this informative, please do share it. Thank you.